That would be me. Am I on?
You are. You are.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Lisa Natoli, and today's topic is called The Healer's Mindset. And I just looked in the mirror, and I'm kind of laughing that this microphone makes me feel like the Jetson, like I'm ready for takeoff. And it's like perfect for today's topic because we're going to be leaving the planet today.
Cool.
So I'm going to be doing a little bit of a talk from chapter 18 called Beyond the Body. And I just wanted to have this topic, the healer's mindset, because it's been a long time coming in me that we make the shift from being somebody who's trying to heal yourself or a symptom to moving into seeing yourself as a healer, as somebody who is healed, as somebody who has the ability to heal. And does that mean exactly? Like, what does it mean to heal, and how do you do it? So I'm just going to start off, and I'm going to just ask a question, and I'm not going to call in anybody. So you don't have to, nobody's going to come up here. You don't have to raise your hand if you don't want to. But I just wanted to see a show of hands. How many of you still get angry at yourself or others? So almost everyone in the room. Is that a healer's mindset? No. So A Course in Miracles is a very direct path to seeing what you've been doing that you previously were unconscious to and making another decision. So do you think, for those of you who raised your hand, that you could be out of anger completely?
Yes. Yes. I do think that.
Okay. And can you catch anger either while it's happening, before it happens? Can you do that?
Yes.
As Christ, one with all, and you know God is with you. God never leaves your side. Now, God's not outside of you. God is what you are. So as a healer, you're always standing in a place, and it's almost, in my experience, there's like a curiosity of what's going to come into the space. And so when somebody comes to you with a story, I have cancer, I'm upset, I'm angry, you have the ability to know the truth in your own mind and for your brother. And so that's, when he said that, you want to be encouraging. And this is the second thing he said, was that you want to help them see cancer differently. That's another true statement. So as a healer, as a miracle worker, we're always first accepting the atonement for ourselves. So what does that mean? To accept atonement for myself means that I know myself as God created me. I know my oneness. I know my wholeness. I know I'm one with everyone and everything. I accept atonement. I am free. I'm not a body. So from here, now, you go back into the world to carry this to others now. So I'm watching the videos every day. He's only doing it for right now. So if anybody wants to see them, you have to be watching them right now. Chris Beats Cancer. But I just wanted to touch on this one because I know this is a big one in the world right now, that you can heal with food. I just want us to look at that one for a second, because if for every 100 people you give me that have healed themselves with food, I can find you 100 more who have done 100% raw food and they did not heal themselves. Am I correct? Mm-hmm. Chris Carr, okay? Just chick on fire. I love her so much. She still has tumors. She still has cancer. She is living her life in aliveness. She is healed. But she's also eating a 100% raw food diet and juicing every day. And now what about the people who, I mean, I've spent the last 30 years studying every method of healing. I have read every healer that I can get my hands on because I feel like my own personal mission is to crack the code on healing. How do you really heal? How? And I look at all the people like Anita Moorjani. She's a beautiful example. So she did the 100% raw food, went to meditate for months, had the guru, had the teacher, did everything 100% perfectly. And as the world identifies it, she died. She got sicker and sicker and sicker on a raw food diet, became paralyzed, tumors filled her entire body. How come she didn't heal with food? Because food doesn't heal you. So one of my favorite parts of the Anita Moorjani story is when she came back from her death experience and she ate ice cream. That's like one of my favorite parts in that story, because she knew that it's knowing myself as whole is my healing. And like I was thinking about Martin Brofman. He's another one I love, who was diagnosed some 45 years ago with stage 4 throat cancer. And he just made this decision that he was going to love himself. That was his decision. He was not going to go the chemotherapy route. And he was given 2 months to live 45 years ago. And he just made this decision that he was going to start looking for what actually caused the sickness. And what he discovered was that he was living way off center, way off from what his heart wanted to do, what his soul wanted to do. So he was in a relationship that he knew was over. He was working a job on Wall Street that he hated. And he wasn't expressing himself. He wasn't expressing what he really was feeling. So, it starts manifesting in the area where you're blocking. He's blocking his true expression. And so what he said was all the people who were wanting him to eat a whole food diet. He said, I got it that they wanted my best interest and they were trying to help me, but he had to honor his inner voice. And his inner voice told him to eat food that you love. And he said that the food that he loved was hamburgers, hot dogs, white bread, bacon, and to drink Coca-Cola. And that's what he did. And he healed himself in a matter of months, and he lived another 45 years and dedicated his life to teaching healing. Okay? So what about these stories? Now, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea here, because when you start living from your center, you will get very specific instruction about how to eat. But the difference is you're not eating that way to heal yourself. And I hope you see the difference. Like if you are eating a whole food diet and you're afraid to eat a sandwich, I want you to see there's fear there. Like if you are eating a gluten-free diet, there's nothing wrong with that. I eat very whole. But at the same time, I eat sandwiches and ice cream, and I just listen. I listen so deeply for everything. What I'm to say, where I'm to go, and staying so present with the experience. It's the fear that needs to be looked at. So Jesus says in A Course in Miracles that if you find something in the world, in what he calls the dream, to heal, you often will have success, but it won't be true healing because you haven't gone to the cause, which is that you think you're a body. You think that you are a body separate from other bodies, and that's what causes sickness, and that's why there's guilt. And so I'm just going to stop there. If there's any questions, comments, anything yet? No. So there's a section called Beyond the Body, which I wanted to focus on briefly. And the last time I was up here teaching a couple weeks ago, month ago, whenever, somebody online I heard wanted me to keep talking about the section. And I just want to say about that, I want everybody to buy the book and do it. That's what I want to say about it. Because I can definitely teach nonstop brilliantly, right? Like I could just go right in and have you sitting right at the edge of your seat for a week, right? It's not going to help you. What's going to help you is a direct experience. I don't want you to depend on me. I want you to be able to have all the information available to you and for you to have the experience that I have had that I'm speaking about right now. So I'm only going to read a little bit today from chapter 18. It's brilliant, okay? I'm going to tell you is that it was Bill Free who told me this week that he was reading Beyond the Body. And the way I live is when I hear someone say something, like when Andy, you told me about the Seth material 2 weeks ago. Andy is just new to our Friday group, and he comes up to me and says, have you read the Seth material, Jane Roberts? And I said, oh, like long time ago in my 20s. But because it came to me, I knew, I sent that message into time and space, and it's now coming through another person. So I said, well, I'm going to read, and you were asking me questions about it, and I couldn't answer you because I couldn't remember what it said. And I said, well, you can be sure I'm going to get those books right now. So I drove straight to Barnes & Noble after the Friday group. The traffic was crazy, right? Mean summer traffic. And I was like, oh, screw this, right on the bridge, right? Fort Smith is right on the main bridge. And I had a moment where I thought, oh, no, it's not happening. But I knew it was going to happen. So right off of exit 5, there I go. And they had 2 Seth books. And I'm so grateful because you get messages that get dropped in through other people. Are you listening? Are you open enough to really hear what people are saying to you? So one of the things, I live in total openness. And I love when people come up to me and offer me something else. Like something, I just love it. I'm not the authority on these things. Like I'm in the boat with everyone. We're on the path together. I'm not further ahead. I am with you. So when I have people come to me, and I get emails from people here in this group come up to me and say, have you considered this? Have you seen this? And in this way, it's like we're really being led. And so when you're listening, like on live stream or here, and you're hearing these messages, and it's like something's in you that feels like, ooh, this is exciting. Like it's something new, right? Pursue it. Get a copy of the book and start from chapter 1, go all the way through chapter 31 and do the workbook lessons. And so when Bill Free told me that he was reading this, I've been reading these sections all week. And I've gone straight into chapter 20. And I'm just going to read a little bit here. It says, beyond the body, this is page 589 in the Circle of Atonement book. And it says, there is nothing outside of you. There is nothing outside of you. That includes your body. There's nothing outside of you. All the people in your life, all the events, all the situations, all of it. The floor that's under your feet, the space around you, the walls. Now it looks outside of you, right? Does that painting look outside of you? Does it seem reasonable that that painting is in your mind? Is there anybody here who's never heard that idea? Do you know you put that painting there from your mind? Do you know you put me here? Am I a perfect whole part of your perfect holy mind? Now let's think about the people you said you're angry at. Are they put there by you?
A script you wrote.
What?
That's a script you wrote.
Yeah, it's a script you wrote. So you wrote the script. So when Jesus says there's no order of difficulty in miracles and there's no order of difficulty in healing, the time it takes for you to begin to have this experience that there is nothing outside of you. Everything that seems to happen to you, everything, your pain, your sickness, your joy, your struggles, your everything, your no money, your whatever, the accidents, all of it coming from your mind, right? You're not guilty for that, but that's, I know it's mind-blowing. Thank you, Will. And so when the way it worked for me, this was a long time ago. So the way it worked for me years and years ago, I heard this idea. I thought, well, that's crazy. Of course people are outside of me. Of course. Like I can feel the cup. I can see you're over there. You're further away over there. So now I can see there's distance and space between objects. But I heard this idea. I'm very big on direct experience, to see it with my own eyes, with my own experience. I don't want to read about it in a book. I don't want to hear that you had an awakening. Me hearing that you had an awakening can only inspire me to take the journey myself. That's the value in that. So I spent quite a lot of time, at least a month, probably more than a month, but that was the beginning, where I just decided, what if, for starting from now, I just stayed open to the possibility that maybe everything is a reflection coming from my mind. It is just a hallucination, just a holographic image. So I played it like a game, like I do everything. Like I'd be like talking to you, and I'd be in my mind going, interesting. Like, really? You're not there at all? Like, okay. So you stay open. And then no matter what my brother does, and our minds are crazy, right? So you get a reflection of your own insanity. What'd you say?
Your mind's crazy.
I know. My mind's crazy. Not his.
I know what you're seeing.
So, but you begin to laugh when you can go through life this way. And you get to see your trigger points. You get to see where some things are really scary. And what Jesus says in A Course in Miracles is that when you say yes to this path, and the time it takes you to undergo this is determined by you. You can take it slow, or you can just rip the Band-Aid off, right? And Jesus says that when you make a decision to undergo this journey to know yourself, all that you buried deep within your mind is going to come out. There's a purification. So you have to have trust. Trust is the first characteristic of a teacher of God, because I always say you're going to need it. Because when you say, yes, I would like to know who I am. I would like to know my oneness. I would like to know my wholeness. I would like to experience healing. I would like to remember God. I would like, you say all of these things. And then, like our friend Paulie G says, buckle up and trust. Because when you start just really saying, yes, I'm going all in now. And all that ideas and beliefs of separation, which you kept concealed and buried in you with your defenses, which is your story. It's the way you keep yourself safe, the way you keep love in, the way you push love out, so that you can maintain your body identity so you can stay safe. And when that gets painful enough for you, then you will take this journey. Then you will be ready. And what Jesus says is that even when you are ready, you will have experiences that scare you so much that you're going to retreat back to darkness again. That's not bad. It's just how it is. So our hiding place is in the body. It's where we hide. We think we're safe there. We think, like, if I can just stay quiet, if I can just be the way I think the world wants me to be, if I'm not too much, if I'm just not too expressive. So we get all our cues from outside of ourselves, but you put it there first. So now this journey of healing, the healer's mindset, is a decision for you to know yourself as you were created, to know your wholeness, to know your innocence, to know how powerful you are, to know your creativity again, and to know your brother as one with you. And I loved what Bill Free said last week in the video. If you guys haven't watched it, go watch it. That was a great teaching. And I could tell he didn't plan for it. You guys were here, right? That was an amen kind of teaching last week. And one of the things that Bill said last week that I loved was that, I don't know how you said it exactly, but it was something about how many of us on the journey at first try to find all the things to forgive, and we keep going, delete, delete, delete. We keep trying to find every little thing and heal it with forgiveness and truth. But one belief, this is from A Course in Miracles, dissolves them all. So Jesus says, this one idea, I am as God created me, is all you need for salvation. This one idea dissolves every other idea. So to begin to have this experience, so what it says here, there is nothing outside of you. This is what you must ultimately learn, for it is in that realization that the kingdom of heaven is restored to you. So this section talks about guilt. Only a body can be guilty. Okay, so think about, I'll just read it. Yet a body cannot be guilty, for it can do nothing of itself. You who think you hate your body deceive yourself. You hate your mind, For guilt has entered into it and would remain separate, which it cannot do. Minds are joined, bodies are not. Only by assigning to the mind the properties of the body does separation seem possible. Its guilt, which keeps it separate, is projected to the body. So think about it. Like all those of you who raised your hand who said that you still get angry. You can only get angry at somebody because of what they're doing in the body. Am I correct? Right? Our hate and our anger only goes to that one person. How come it doesn't go everywhere? How come we don't just like be angry at everybody? Because that's what the separation idea does. It locates that's where it's coming from. It's coming from you who's done something that I don't like, that doesn't fit into how I want life to be. The script is not going the way I want it to go. Therefore, I'm upset. And you're the cause of my upset because you are not playing your part the way I wrote the part. So this is crazy, right? So I want to just make sure I get this section in here without, I just want to make sure I do what I came here to do. So it talks in here that the body is not there. Does that seem like an acceptable idea to you? Is there anybody that is just too far out there? The body is not there.
Pretty far out. Yeah, our bodies.
I have a hard time with it.
Okay, and I like honesty.
Right.
That's a hard one, right? Sure seems solid. So all Jesus is asking for us in the mind training is to have an open mind. To have an open mind of the possibility that maybe that could be true. That's all. It's not, and what I like about A Course in Miracles is it's giving me practices where I can actually have an experience where I see the body disappear. I see the pain disappear. I see that when I turn my focus away from my problems, I turn my focus from pain to gratitude or from, whatever it is, from grievances to God, from grievances to extension of love, my experience changes. And you start to have a sense or a seeing that there's more possibilities than you saw when you were just located in that one little place of depression and anxiety and loneliness and anger. You see, it's like the space gets bigger. And so it says, and this section in here, I love Joe Dispenza very much. And what I saw was that this, he doesn't really give a practice in this one particularly, but it's talking about a sense of transportation beyond the body. So it says that you've all had a sense of actual escape from limitations. Everyone has experienced what he would call a sense of being transported beyond himself. This feeling of liberation far exceeds the dream of freedom sometimes experienced in the special relationship. It is a sense of actual escape from limitations. If you will consider what this transportation really entails, and this is the Joe Dispenza work. This is 100% Joe Dispenza's meditation in the next sentence, in my observation. If you will consider what this transportation really entails, you will realize it is a sudden unawareness of the body and a joining of yourself and something else in which your mind enlarges to encompass it. It becomes part of you as you unite with it, and both become whole as neither as is perceived as separate. And that's what Joe Dispenza is. Who doesn't know Joe Dispenza in this room? Okay, so Joe Dispenza is this quantum science guy who's healed himself of his spine, got hit by a truck and broke his spine in like 8 places, and healed himself through this practice. He doesn't practice A Course in Miracles, but he knew that within each of us is life. And this is how A Course in Miracles describes it, that within you is light. But we cover it up with our beliefs of ourselves as a body. So healing is to begin to identify on life, light, intelligence, joy, gratitude, truth. So when you take your focus away from the space, away from the people, away from your body, away from the thoughts, because the thoughts are outside of you too. It's all outside of you, because you, when it says there is nothing outside of you, it's not saying there's nothing outside of Lisa Natoli, the personal identity. There's nothing outside of me, the Christ. Me, the oneness. Me, the wholeness. Me, the innocence. My true identity. I'm not a body. So there's nothing outside of me. So when I start to have Lisa Natoli thoughts, and I have a past, and I have a future, and I have a timeline, that's outside of me. That's not me. And what we do is we pick up these little bits and threads, and you try to piece them all together, and you can't do it because you don't have a space. Does this make sense to everybody? You're everywhere. You don't have a location. You don't have a timeline. You're everywhere. I was remembering the other night when I used to live in New York, and it was in 2000 when I first got I somehow read it in here that every mind was in my mind. I was like, whoa, seriously? I can reach every mind just sitting here on the couch, for real? Like, it was exciting to me. And at the time, I thought a lot about the prostitutes. I thought a lot about children that were being sexually abused. I thought a lot about just people who were out there on the street. I just thought like all the people that were in the world that were afraid. And I thought, wow, I can heal them by just being here and remembering the truth. And I don't know, it just seemed like a reasonable idea to me that I could do that. And I would sit on my couch. At the time I was drinking, so I was vodka tonics at the time. And but I just felt like I don't know how to help them. I was somebody who used to raise a lot of money for all sorts of different things. So I would run these walks. I did the Revlon Run Walk for women, 60 miles in 3 days, raised $10,000 for breast cancer. I did so many walks in Central Park, and my friends in the publishing company I worked for, they knew. I was somebody who was constantly wanting to do good in the world and wanting to end suffering. And somewhere along the way, I got it. You can't fix this problem. This problem's just too big. Like you heal cancer and AIDS comes along. You heal this and now there's this. You heal this and it was a total place of like absolute devastation. Like, well, what can we do? So when I got this message, and I realized you heal them in your mind. You heal them by knowing the truth. You take this journey, and it seems nuts, right? Does that seem nuts to anybody, or does it? Who does this seem nuts to? Yeah. Do you believe it's true? Yeah. So that's the exciting part. Like you, and this is why I'm constantly going back to the guys like Thomas Edison and the light bulb and the Wright brothers with the airplane, is that there are these ideas that have not yet really become well known in time and space, but they will. They will. And how do I know? Because what Jesus says is, when you take this journey, the first thing, talk to me about Jesus. Thank you, Trinity. I will. And is that when you take this journey, the first thing when you start to know that God is your cause and you are his effect, I am love's effect. I'm not causing sickness. I just got it one day that I'm everything. I'm not separate little Lisa with separate little problems. I live in God. I am an effect of God, one with all my brothers who I love, one with myself. I am love's effect. And what happens then is the effects in your immediate vicinity start to change. You start to feel different. You start to feel hope or freedom, to escape from limitations. And then you see the circle getting wider. You start to see your problems disappear. You start to see the news start to change. You start to see it's getting wide, it gets wider, right? And so where I feel like we're at now in the world is we're still in the purification part where the stuff's just coming up to be released. So when we see the news and it looks like more insane than ever, we don't freak out about it. We just go, okay, yeah, wow, it's working. Yeah, it's just like we're clearing. We're clearing. Like if you had like I'll give an example. Okay, Bill, my husband, is amazing, fix-it guy, amazing carpenter. He's doing home improvements all the time, and every time I turn around, he's working on something new, or he's like, I'm going to Home Depot. So we're up in a camper for the summer, and we have a place up near Portland, Maine, and our toilet, it's just in a camper. It's just an old thing, and it's when you sit on it, it kind of moves all around. It's just and it's like like an outhouse. It's like everything goes just down and sits in a holding tank, and we're camping, so we get used to it. Now it's broken, and Bill was concerned that it was the floor, and that one of us was going to end up in our neighbor's lot one day, right? And I'm just somebody who doesn't think about how to fix it. I'm just like, oh yeah, whatever. When I sit out, I'll make sure like. Well, would I pray about that? If I prayed about that, would that fix the toilet? No, divine intelligence will show you what to do. So Bill's like checking things out, and he's like, I think I just need to put this, I need to take the toilet out. I think it's just not sitting right. So I'll put this plastic, this $10 plastic thing on there. And when he took the toilet out, he saw that a real toilet could fit there. So Bill's like, I'm going to Home Depot to get a toilet. I'll be right back. So we have a real toilet now. And the floor was totally fine. And so my point is that often when something's not working, it's just water not coming through the pipe. The problem's not with God. The problem is that there's a block, and the block is in your thinking. So we create a wall, and you can see your beliefs as stones that you built to keep love in, keep the light in, and keep it out. I'm going to be safe as a body identity. So the entire journey of transformation is to let the wall go. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself be heard. Let yourself make mistakes. Let yourself have this experience. And love comes rushing in. So this part here, it says, what really happens is, so it's this experience of an absolute unawareness of the body and a joining of yourself in something else. So the way Joe Dispenza describes it is that you can do it with your eyes open, you can do it with your eyes closed. You become aware of the space. You become aware of the space in the room. You become aware of the space outside the room. And you keep widening the space and you go there. Does this make sense? So now we are everywhere. Like, it looks like my body's here, but I'm out there. And I'm everywhere. I'm in every mind. And so you start to break through the limitations. So when people are trying to heal the body so that they can now go help other people, that's not it. You're still limited yourself to a body, as a body, thinking you can only do things through the body. But your mind is free. It doesn't matter if you have cancer, if you have pain, your mind is free. You are free. And as you identify yourself as love, as this light that's everywhere, the body becomes perfect in its ability to do whatever you're here to do. Whatever. And so it says, what really happens is that you have given up the illusion of a limited awareness and lost your fear of union. The love that instantly replaces it extends to what has freed you and unites you with it. And while this lasts, you are not uncertain of your identity and would not limit it. You have escaped from fear to peace, asking no questions of reality, but merely accepting it. You have accepted this instead of the body and have let yourself be one with something beyond it, simply by not letting your mind be limited by it. This can occur regardless of the physical distance that seems to be between you and what you join, regardless of your respective positions in space and of your differences in size and seeming quality. Time is irrelevant. It can occur with something past, present, and anticipated. The something, quote unquote, can be anything and anywhere, a sound, a sight, a thought, a memory, even a more general idea without specific reference. But in every case, you join it without reservation because you love it and you would be one with it. This is the healer's mindset. Whenever you're with another, whenever you're with yourself, there's no holding back anymore. You don't join the brother in the story. You join wholly with their self, their true self, and you rush to meet it. So whenever somebody comes to me with a story, and that's why I invite everyone to really go look at this section, because it keeps going on and on. I mean, into chapter 19 of moving through your own identity, reaching to another, and how when you hold the truth in your mind, it's felt and changed in their mind. And this is how you heal. You just are, Christ is your identity. You're just allowing yourself to have this experience. So it says, and so you rush to meet it, letting your limits melt away, suspending all the laws your body obeys and gently setting them aside. There is no violence at all in this escape. The body is not attacked, but merely properly perceived. It does not limit you merely because you would not have it so. You are not really lifted out of it. It cannot contain you. You go where you would be, gaining, not losing, a sense of self. In these moments of release from physical restrictions, you experience much of what happens in the holy instant. The lifting of the barriers of time and space, the sudden experience of peace and joy, and above all, the lack of awareness of the body and of the questioning whether or not all of this is possible. It is possible because you want it. The sudden expansion of the self that takes place with your desire for it is the irresistible appeal the holy instant holds. It calls to you to be yourself within its safe embrace. There are the laws of limits lifted for you to welcome you to openness of mind and freedom. Come to this place of refuge where you can be yourself in peace, not through destruction, not through a breaking out, but merely a quiet melting in. For peace will join you there simply because you have been willing to let go the limits you have placed on love and joined it where it is and where it led you in answer to its gentle call for peace. And I love that it calls the body a little speck of dust. You know, it's like it's so nothing and we think it's something. So I want to just, anybody have a question, comment? Where's the...
I'm not quite sure where this is going, but I first of all want to thank you for being the person 9 years ago who first planted the seed for me that A Course in Miracles could actually be lived, that I could experiment with these ideas and not just read about them, which I had done for 10 years gradually. And I tend to be a turtle. I just sort of go slow and thorough. And today I have to thank you for completely scrambling my thinking.
You're most very welcome.
The two things that stood out, one was don't take me as your, don't take my word, and the other was you have to learn to be yourself. And I'm finding that even with my continued connection with you and where you've gone and who's here in this room, that myself and yourself don't explain what I believe we share in truth and what I think we have experienced together in truth in the same way. Yep. That in some ways I'm more like Bill. I'm going to be fixing the projects and looking at things. And yeah, sometimes it is my thinking, at least around the project, that's out of whack. Yep. And it's when I take it apart and look at it or even let it sit there for a day or two and I think, oh, it could be this, or I could try that. But I don't tend to go into it quickly. Yep. And I don't tend to feel that I have to be concerned about I know the Course says that my body isn't real, and I guess I pretty much agree with that. And one of the things I sort of say to myself is, I intend to be active till the gentle end, and so I intend to make decisions that are long-term, helpful, healthy, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I think other people can be in a better place when they, too, make those kind of choices so that they're stable enough to allow themselves to experiment with some of these nuts ideas, self-described here, and practice them. So I guess I just thank you for being yourself and continuing with it, and for the light that's coming to me that says myself doesn't present the same logic or the same argument, and I'm completely convinced that we're on the same path.
Yep, and I'm so grateful, Nancy, that you said what you just said, because This is why in the teacher's manual it says, who are God's teachers? They come from around the world. They come from every religion. They come from no religion. They're all needed. Every expression is needed. Every single one. So all of us have particular gifts, particular just ways that are just easy for us. The things that Bill does, I mean, we sit around, like the other day, he sees everything, and he's already fixing it in his own mind. So he sees, we have one window that's filled with, and it's not mold, but it's got stuff on it, and it needs to be, it's like pollen with something, whatever. So, so I'm going to clean it off, and Bill's looking at it, and he sees where it came from. So he sees that it came from this thing that's leaking down the water over here, and if he just puts a thing up here, it'll make the water go in a different direction. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. And I was going to tell you about that. It didn't even occur to me. But that's for the one mind that we share that seems like it's split off into a million billion splinters is such a playground, because what he does easily, oh my God. Like, I remember years ago, I hung a mirror one time, and I'm still talking about it. Like, look at me, everybody. I hung a mirror. It was a big deal for me, right? I used a hammer. I put the nail in the right place. I put it just right.
Other gifts.
I have other gifts. Except that's my point. So I'm grateful, Nancy, that you said that, because that's where it gets fun. And I do get quite a lot of emails that people try to be me. I'm like, why would you try to be me? Be you, right? And so, thank you. That's it. Like, can you stay in identification with the awareness, with the truth of who you really are? Not a body. You're not a body. And so, and then to really just have it be a training of when your attention and awareness goes back to the body. So I created an 8-week online program called The Healing Cure, and it's 8 weeks of from day one, staying centered in your I am, in the holiness, and using every moment. That the number one practice in the Holiness Cure is the quiet. That's the number one, because when you are being a body, your mind is anything but quiet. It just, and so to give yourself the practice to keep come back into the quiet. And when you come into the quiet and you shift your awareness to the light within, and then you expand the space to outside of the body. So now you're expanding the space to all to the body, to the people, to the problems. So you're learning how to work with the presence and the power of God, which is your innocence, which is the holiness, which is the light. You're not blocking it anymore. You're not holding it in. You're allowing it to take its natural course, which is extension. And to me, that's the final place here, is where you let the wall fall. You take all those stones of all your beliefs of how you can stay safe, the wall you built around you, and you say, I'm done playing safe. I'm done with littleness. And then that's the fear point, right? Because now what? Oh no, it'll be the end of you. And it will be the end of you. Right? It'll be the end of you as a personality and an identity. And that's exciting, because then you don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. You don't know what's going to come into your space. You don't care. You just do not care, because you just know I'm here as a light, and that's the end of that story. And just to stay identified with that awareness.